Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us and welcome to live coverage of some preseason football on the Region Sports Network. We come to you today from Valparaiso High School for a 4-team scrimmage between the Calumet Warriors, Boone Grove Wolves, Hobart Brickies, and the host, the Valparaiso Vikings. My name is Mike Dewan. I'll be bugging you guys all night alongside me, Zach Miller on the keys, and Zach Sinelli up top with the camera. We're here. Hey, football's starting. It's July. We're getting into the nitty-gritty, and it's time to do some live coverage of some scrimmages, and we're happy to be here. I want to, of course, shout out Valparaiso for always the commodity they've had. They put us on a fantastic on-field setup right here, as you kind of see on some of our cameras. The boys are warming up. We're right in front of the Hobart Brickies, actually, and we see Valpo on the other side as well, getting ready. I believe Calumet just rolled up, and then Boone Grove we're still awaiting on. But to kind of lay off the schedule, obviously these four teams, they're going to see each other plenty of times today, but right now it is the warm-up period, kind of getting the guys here, getting the guys stretched out and ready to go. But we got a couple 7-on-7s coming around. Again, we'll kind of go between both. Obviously, we only have so many cameras here today, but we're going to try and cover as much action as possible. And you'll see a couple 7-on-7s, some 12-on-12s, and I'll kind of walk you guys through that. But we're hopefully going to chat with a couple coaches here as well today. Obviously, it's going to be a long day here, and we're hoping to run into a couple coaches, talk shop, and as the season is just a few weeks away. Before we know it, it's week one, and there's a lot of highly anticipated matchups, especially with some of these schools that are here today. Looking kind of at the weather today for our Economy Electric Heating and Cooling Tuesday night forecast. It's still muggy. Let me pull up the temperature for you, but it's a little bit cloudy here in Valpo. The sun's kind of peeking out. Luckily, we're nice and shaded a little bit, but it's ugly. We'll see. We have 82 degrees right now, a little bit cloudy. There's chance of a little bit light rain. Who knows? Hopefully we kind of elude that. It's been some funny weather to say the least. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I think it's a nice night for football against some very talented teams, and we're excited to get things going. We're going to step aside here for a little bit. I'll talk about these teams briefly as we get back from the break, but we're still waiting for some guys to kind of roll in, but wanted to introduce ourselves. Again, my name is Mike Dewan here with the Region Sports Network, and we'll be back with some more live coverage of some preseason football on the Region Sports Network, the only game in town.
Thinking about what to do after high school? Consider a career with Boilermakers Local 374. As a Boilermaker apprentice, you'll earn while you learn. We offer excellent wages and benefits, and as part of our no-cost hands-on apprenticeship program, you'll learn from the best in state-of-the-art training centers and on the job. Become a union Boilermaker and get on your way to a great career. Find out more, visit www.local374.org or call 219-845-1000.
I'm Crowell Company's Lantern Man. I'll cover your motorcycle. I'll be with you on the water. I'll be with you on the snow. I'll cover your insurance needs wherever you go. I'll be at Crowell Agency from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. As Crowell Company's Lantern Man, I'm your insurance superhero.
Crowell Companies, the insurance professionals in Highland, Maryville, and Michigan City.
And welcome back here to the Region Sports Network. Again, my name is Mike Dewan here. Some more live coverage of some preseason football. Again, we're here at Valparaiso High School, the Valpo Vikings, Calumet Warriors, the Hobart Brickies, and Boone Grove Wolves who are just pulling up here right now.
Hey guys, thanks for coming out.
Always a pleasure to be out here in Valparaiso. Again, some fantastic commodity, and we're ready to see some football. But hey, joining me a little bit, our producer here tonight, Zach Miller, It's been a while since first time for us being on the mic. Yeah, I think it's long overdue. But Zach, how we doing tonight, man?
I'm doing great, man.
Good night for some ball.
They keep us off the mic together for a reason, I like to think, but they couldn't keep us away this time.
Yeah, when it's just us two here and then Zach Sinelli, we kind of call the shots here tonight, and yeah, definitely long overdue with how much we're together. It's probably for the better in terms of for the company, but yeah, I mean you've also. Along with myself, I mean, we've both been kind of, front row seats to kind of some of these programs.
Yep.
Obviously, some fantastic talent all across the board. I mean, what are you most excited to see here tonight?
I want to see how Hobart looks this year relative to last year. I want to see I want to see primarily the two, Hobart and Valparaiso, how they compare to last year. I'm also interested in seeing two teams, though, in Calumet and Boone Grove that we don't always see. For Valparaiso and Hobart, those are two teams we're familiar with seeing. Calumet and Boone Grove, we aren't as familiar with them. So how are they going to look this year?
It's going to be interesting. I definitely wanted to get into that, but I couldn't agree more. Valpo and Hobart, of course, some marquee teams. You can't speak the story of Northwest Indiana football without mentioning the Hobart Brickies, and we had their fair share of coverage last year and expect the same maybe this fall, along with the Valparaiso Vikings, another up-and-coming program. I mean, maybe not up-and-coming. They're already here, but they've been fantastic. They've been consistent, and it's all under Bill Marshall. But looking at Calumet and Boone Grove, we'll start with Calumet. They went 3-7 last year, and they lost at Hanover Central in the sectional opener. I mean, they're under first-year head Coach Charles' salary, and from what I understood, a little bit of roster movement maybe kind of seeing around there. It's, you got some guys you got to throw into some new spots, and it's sometimes the way it is. Again, first year under a new head coach is never easy, no matter if it's an assistant that's elevated or somebody that's outside of the school going into that year. Everybody has to kind of buy into that program, so it's going to be interesting to see. Again, hopefully we get a chance to talk to him tonight, Charles Salary, but it's, year two, the goal is obviously, you're more comfortable as a head coach, you're more comfortable with the players and having him on staff, and it's hopefully things going to start gelling together in what the end goal is, eventually winning a few more games, hopefully winning some hardware. They're getting ready for Osceola Grace week 1. They got River Forest week 2, and again, it's going to be interesting to see how they compete today, because they could be coming in. Hey, they have one of maybe the lesser record compared to these other three teams that are here today, but they could show us something. And about Boone Grove, another team again we haven't really saw much. I'm very excited to see these guys. They are just looking at their box scores last year and what they did. They were fun. They scored points, punches and bunches, and I think it started with their quarterback Mark Rowland. He threw for, I think, over 3,700 yards last year. That's something you see out of, 16-game seasons. It's a fantastic season at any level for a quarterback, let alone, again, in the smash mouth high school football, Northwest Indiana kind of era. You don't see much passing like Boone Grove does, and I'm very interested to see 7-on-7 period, that coming up here soon, but I don't know, man. There's a lot of talent across the board.
Yep, they lit it up last year, the Boone Grove Wolves offense, and I want to see how that goes to this year. Last year they kind of caught everybody off guard a little bit with it, So now that people see it, they've seen a year of it, how's it going to be going into this year? Especially against teams that are frankly better than the competition they faced last year. How does it translate against the Valparaiso and a Hobart?
Boone Grove coming in this game, they're the smallest school via class size. Again, with these ORAMAs and scrimmages, you want to kind of play tough opponents that you're not going to see in the regular season. You don't want to kind of give them an edge. So all of these four schools here today, although two are in the GSSC, both of them do not play each other this season. They're also in both two different divisions, that being Calumet and Boone Grove, Valparaiso, of course, in the Duneland, and Hobart in the NCC. And then all of them, Valparaiso's Class 5A, Hobart 4A, Calumet is 3A, and Boone Grove is 2A. So, yeah, again, Boone Grove, they're kind of playing up today. They're playing bigger schools, and I'm very interested to see how that kind of aerial attack of Mark Rowland and all those other guys, how they fare against these teams like today.
He's a special player. The stats he put up last year speak for themselves, and they are very fun to watch. So I wasn't able to catch them in person last year, so I'm really excited to see how it looks.
That's why we're here today. Again, plenty of scrimmage coverage still to go here in the summer. There's also, from what I understand, a huge 8-team scrimmage at Munster today with a couple region teams as well as some Illinois teams. There's going to be some coverage on that as well from our boy Javi at Short Pro Media. If you've seen some of his stuff, it's fantastic. He's been doing a lot of work with us, and again, it keeps you guys all posted for this off-season football coverage. There's plenty to be covered, and we're just right around the corner. We're going to step aside a little bit as these teams are still kind of warming up. Teams still stretching out, getting ready to go. Again, but we'll have more from you here from Valparaiso High School on the Region Sports Network, the only game in town. Save for a healthy tomorrow with an HSA checking account from Tech Credit Union. It's a tax-advantaged way to save and pay for healthcare expenses. You'll enjoy no setup fee, no annual fee, and easy access to funds. Plus, you'll earn a better-than-competitive dividend rate, currently at 2.27% APY. Visit techcu.org, contact any branch, or call 800-276-8324 to learn more. Tech Credit Union is federally insured by the NCUA. Rates may change without notice.
Earn while you learn from the best hands in the business. The Bricklayers Allied Craftworkers for Indiana, Kentucky Apprenticeship. That's right, this is a paid apprenticeship.
I'm getting an education while learning a trade and getting paid for it.
The thing that surprised me the most about this apprenticeship program is the respect I've received after the proper time and training.
Classes start soon, so apply now. There are training centers throughout Indiana and Kentucky. We are the Bricklayers and Allied Craftworkers for Indiana, Kentucky Apprenticeship. The best hands in the business.
Can't wait for summer, but dreading the heat because your old AC let you down? Don't sweat it out this summer. Call Economy Electric Heating and Cooling. The professionals there can fix you up. Install a central air unit that'll last for years. Your family deserves to stay comfortable. And with a 24/7 emergency service, comfort is just a phone call away. Give them a call at 219-923-4441 or check them out on the web at 4ajobdoneright.com.
Blythe's Team Sports in Valparaiso is a leader in athletics apparel and equipment sales. With in-house production including screen printing, trophies, embroidery, and more, Blythe's can help you to create the perfect look. For more information, visit them online at teamblythes.com. Blythe's Team Sports in Valparaiso, where the athletes shop.
Welcome back to Valparaiso High School here on the Region Sports Network. I'm Mike DeWan here as we are getting ready for a 4-team scrimmage. Again, a lot to be excited for. 4 solid teams with plenty of different dynamics. And again, we're looking forward to kind of chatting with some of these coaches. Just ran into Coach Kulski of Boone Grove. We're hoping to chat with him, as well as Coach Marshall of Valparaiso, Coach Shriber Jr. of Hobart, and Coach Salary of Calumet. Nonetheless, we have a lot in store for you tonight. Again, we got Zach Miller next to me, also going to be kind of chiming in here and there, and Zach Sinelli up top getting some of the action shots. But Zach, I mean, talk to me about it a little bit. I mean, again, we know how busy football is. We know how king football has kind of become up here. As much as this is a basketball state, football, man, it's growing like crazy.
And it's different in the region, you know. I mean, the coverage that they're getting now and the pandemonium that covers football season, it's been getting bigger every year, and especially in Northwest Indiana. It just comes with the culture. You know what I mean? There's so many storied programs like Valparaiso, Hobart, programs on the rise that are making their own legacies now, like Crown Point, who's been dominant the past couple of years. It's, you know, when you talk about high school sports in Northwest Indiana, football is near the top of the list. I'd say even over basketball at this point.
It's getting close. As crazy as that statement may have sounded, you know, as little as
decades ago,
5-10 years ago even. I mean, it's pretty insane how football has grown dramatically up here. The talent level it's a lot of parity up here. You see a lot of guys especially playing at the next level. Yep. It's truly fun to see, as again a former football player myself. This game is growing, and it's truly hard to take in, but we're happy to kind of have the front row seat for it. Again, we're here. We're looking at some of these some of these fantastic teams you mentioned, and I think one of the things that kind of needs to be highlighted, along with the growth of the game up here, is the community is kind of buying into these programs. Buying in, I mean, no pun intended, but some of these schools like Boone Grove, they now have a field to play on. I'm excited if we get a chance to talk to Coach Kulski of Boone Grove. This was their home field. Yep. They played at Valparaiso for a while, from what I remember, at least when I was in school not too long ago. And then I think they might have played a little bit at Wheeler as their new field was getting done, and eventually they opened up their previous season. They played one of their final home games, I should say, of last season, finally opening up their new field. But they get to open up. They have a home opener this year. They get to, break in that new field officially. And again, just one of the schools that, of the many, that a lot of money is getting pumped in, especially to these athletic programs and more so football programs.
Yep, and that investment's happening not just here, but say places like, literally here in Valparaiso, the locker room that's on the far side of the field, that was put in the last 5 years. Places like Crown Point, where they're renovating almost everything over
just
there.
About, yep.
You know what I mean? Boone Grove is a great example. Calumet's another fairly recent example. Just schools that are here of renovating their fields. I mean, it's investment all over, you know? And that's important. I mean, the communities are buying in. It's one thing for us to be saying, oh, football is important, it's overtaking basketball, this or that. It's another thing to show it. And people are showing up for it. They're putting their money where their mouth is. And it's fun to see, you know, because it's a sport we love.
Always fun to see. Again, it's becoming definitely at least maybe not a football state, but it's a football area, a football region, if you will. It looks like it's a little bit of rain coming down here. Again, the good old Northwest Indiana weather. We just had some sun a little bit ago, but it's football weather nonetheless. Teams are starting to get ready to go. Again, we got some 7-on-7s on both sides of the field. Hopefully, eventually, we'll get a chance to maybe wrangle over some coaches and chop it up with them. But it's about that time to play some football, and for these players to hit another player in pads, it's kind of a difference. You know, you go up against the same guys you see all summer, but to hit somebody in a different color uniform, that's always it hits a little different. It's
always the most nerve-wracking and the most fun part of the season when you're able to get to finally that point where you're able to hit people that aren't on your team. You know, you get tired of hitting your teammates, you don't like them, and then you're like, all right, we're going to this scrimmage on this day, and you're like, oh boy, finally we get to show it. We've been practicing all the things that we've been doing day in and day out. Get to test it out on somebody else and see where you stand.
Hey, and it's Judgment Day too. You know, again, some of these teams, they got some new faces, new spots at positions that they need to be filled.
Yep.
And these days are for it. You're going up against a different school as an entire unit. You're playing as a team. You're not breaking up the team and versing each other. It's you versus somebody else. And again, it's time for these coaches. These are important days for these players and these coaches to kind of figure out. You know, you're going to be playing for us in August and Friday nights. You're going to be that guy. We're going to turn to you, and these days, it's going to show me why. So, again, always big for these athletes. Looks like we're going to kind of get this 7-on-7 period started at the south end of the field. That's going to be Calumet and Valparaiso. We're going to kind of be showing you that. Then over here in front of us will be Boone Grove and Hobart. I think we're going to step aside a little bit as the action kind of gets going underway. As you kind of see from Zach here, some Zanelli up top. He's kind of zooming around, but we're going to step aside quickly, I'd say, before we get things going.
We'll turn the audio off. We're going to keep the video going for now, but we're just going to turn our audio off and let the videos play, and then we'll come back when we have a coach.
Let's do it. Got Boone Grove getting ready again, the aerial passing attack against always a stout Hobart defense, the Bricky defense. Again, missing a few pieces. They're looking to find those guys. Again, as we said, Mark Rowland is one of those guys we got to kind of watch. Fantastic passer, also did a lot with his legs back in 2023, looking for his senior year. Going to be a 4-year starter, to my knowledge. I'm very excited to see this Boone Grove offense go to work. Again, these 7-on-7 periods, it's interesting to see, again, the development. Again, 7-on-7, you know, it doesn't completely emulate a 12-on-12. You know, it doesn't tell you everything. It doesn't paint the full picture. But it's a lot. Again, you got to make sure the guys know the plays. You got to make sure the quarterback and the receivers are on connection, as well as, you know, kind of the back half of your defense. You got to make sure you guys have your coverage right and kind of have your assignments right, and eventually put it all together.
And it's a great time of year to iron out the kinks, you know. You're working on all your skill position players. You see right now, they're coaching up quarterback right now, you know, coaching up the receiver who maybe wasn't in the right spot for the play. You know, this is the time of year where, you know, it doesn't count, right? You're still making progress and you want to get better with each play, but it's not 3rd and 10 on week 3 in a conference game, you know. It's the middle of July where you get to work it out and you get to get better.
It's a big confidence booster if things go right today for whatever team. Again, you're playing a new team. You're getting ready to go. It's starting to feel a little bit like a Friday night. Obviously, we're still in July, but nonetheless, the rust kind of wears off a little bit. You're like, okay, this is game speed. We're playing against their number ones as well. We're getting ready to go. Roland throws a nice ball. You know, a couple missed so far a little bit. Again, just trying to work out those kinks. First few throws of the day. Nonetheless, I'm kind of like what I'm seeing from Boone Grove. Hobart, you know, they're going to fly to the ball. We know about them. They're a talented 4A team. But it's a great test for Boone Grove, and especially this offense that, you know, graduated a lot of receivers, a lot of Mark Rowland's best friends from last year.
Yep, and even with a lot of the production graduating, they're showing right now they're not afraid to air it out regardless. They're throwing it deep from the start.
With numbers like that, you can't be that fearless.
You have all the reason to be confident and chuck it downfield, and you throw for over 3,700 yards, you know?
Yeah, it's not with dink and dunk passes. It's, again, they'll take what they can get, but if they got something deep, he's going to try it out. He trusts his guys, but again, Boone Grove, it's finding those guys that, you know, there are a couple guys. Again, Tyler Torbson was a name that made RSN All-Area. A couple other guys, I want to say they're top 5 receivers or something, 4 receivers from last year. We're all seniors. So it's a lot of guys you got to kind of fill in, hopefully take those spots.
And that's where it's on Roland to take the leadership role as the senior quarterback to bring those guys in. Tell them where they need to be and instill that confidence in them that they could be just like the guys from last year.
Right. A little bit more about the team they're going up against right now, the Brickies. They went 7-3 last year. Again, a respectable record for most programs. For Hobart, that may be said otherwise. I know the standard is always quite high there, and they lost to at New Prairie in the first round of sectionals. I know that the Bricky faithful would always like to do something maybe a little bit more in the playoffs, but that's what the man Eric Shriber Jr. is for, coming in for his first full season as head coach. Again, he was at Westside previously before he was on Hobart staff last year as an assistant. Good pass breakup there. Again, a Hobart defense, a couple more pieces they're trying to fill in. Bradley Gibson was a name that I think he's going on to play at University of St. Francis, a solid linebacker of theirs, as well as a couple other guys that are fantastic. But Hobart, again, they got some guys, as always. Willie Shearer is a name that really kind of jumped out last year as great as Hobart was kind of in the transfers with their quarterback Sorensen and Caldwell, who's now playing at Valparaiso University. Willie Shearer really stepped up on the offensive side of the ball. And that's a good catch there right in front of us here. But Hobart, they fly to the ball. It's fun, man. These two teams, I don't know. I like what I see so far. Competitiveness.
Yep, it's what they pride themselves on. It's Bricky football. Competitive, tough, built on defense, and they're showing it right now.
Hobart, of course, week 1, they're going to get ready for Chesterton, a team that they kind of scraped by last year in the week 1 opener, a team that they always would usually play to open out the year, a team that they kind of struggled with. Always a pretty fun matchup, but they got over that hump last year, got off to a pretty good start.
Tough catch.
Again,
they aren't afraid of physicality early.
No. Oh, again, another good ball there. Little hitch route here right in front of us. Again, it's kind of a next-level offense from what we see. Again, short concepts, if it's there, take it, obviously. You know, it'd be more fun to see how they incorporate maybe a running game with it, any play actions. Kind of opens up more of the playbook. But, yeah, we kind of see little RPOs here, swinging out left.
Get a guy in motion.
For sure. I mean, using the entire width of the field, make your defense, make everybody play, and nobody take a play off against whatever defense you're playing.
Yep. Fun to watch. Different to watch from stuff that we're used to seeing in Northwest Indiana. Usually it's 3 yards in a cloud of dust, but, you know, keep it old school. But Boone Grove, they kind of move us into the new generation of offense, you know?
It's a new era, man. I even remember, Lowell, when I was playing, Lowell was kind of the first team. I'm like, they could do that. They ran a couple RPOs. Again, kind of a zone with a bubble on the backside or whatever.
Yep.
And you just, I don't know, you didn't think that was legal. But it's revolutionary. Again, you see college and even some NFL teams. I mean, it's the RPO. There's always kind of a backside route, and if it's open, if you have numbers, you're going to hit it.
Yep. I mean, I remember I only graduated a couple years out of high school. We were running the wing T. You know, I thought that was over. I graduated 2021. I thought that was done in 1921.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know?
Yeah, I know it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But I'll tell you what, teams like Boone Grove, they're pushing it forward, and it's working for them.
Yeah.
The new school stuff, you know, it's working for them.
Good back shoulder ball here. That great camera work there. He's doing it all here tonight, Zach Miller. On the mic, on the keys, and also doing a little bit of camera work. But yeah, again, he throws a great ball. It's not fluky numbers with the stats that jump out at you.
From what I've seen so far, I have been nothing but impressed.
Yeah. Again, I'm interested to talk with Coach about him. Obviously, plenty of development he's seen. Kulski, a long-time head coach at Boone Grove, has kind of seen it all. And, again, Roland, he's going in, 4th year starting. You don't see that often.
And that's so big. You know, it goes without saying, you're so happy when you have a guy who starts 4 years. It means they're pretty good at football if you start 4 years in a row. But all that experience, the useful experience that you're able to put, especially for a team that you said with the receiving core that may have graduated 5 players, you know, that's 5 players of production. You got to rely on that experience for the new guys to say, hey, we've done this before, and maybe you haven't done it before, but I can show you what it takes to get to that level of production.
Definitely. Pretty packed house here at Valparaiso on both sides of the bleachers. Of course, Valpo always travel well. See a lot of bricky purple as well. Boone Grove not too far away, and I Calumet has packed some fans too. It's about that time. It's a fun day. You see some great teams, and again, it's Judgment Day a little bit. One of the many Judgment Days we have maybe in the summer.
We're getting close, aren't we, Mike?
We're getting very close.
July 16th?
Eerily close, yeah. Nearly a month away, a month and a week. Just about.
It's an exciting time, man. I can't wait. I'm getting goosebumps talking about it, you know.
Bit.
I mean, week 1's going to be coming before we know it. A little before that, we're going to have the Cal Ripken World Series.
Yeah, there's that to talk about too. Again, many things for us coming up as well. Of course, football. We also kind of got into a little bit of youth baseball coverage in Crown Point, one of our old stomping grounds, and I know they got something coming up that. As a nice interception there. Again, a lot of energy here with this bricky team, but looks like they're going to switch now. Here we're going to see a little bit of that Hobart offense. See Boone Grove defense again. I know that Boone Grove defense a little bit younger. They had graduated a couple pieces, but I'm interested to see again. Hobart, I kind of want to see what they do at quarterback. Johnny Sorensen was their guy. Again, the transfer from Lake Central finished out his senior year at Hobart. As well as you're missing your number 1 target, TJ Caldwell, who had a fantastic weekend I saw at the North-South All-Star game. Had a game. He's going to be playing again very close around here at Valparaiso University.
Not far.
Not far at all. Again, some more local talent as we're talking about. But yeah, again, a lot of new faces. I'm interested to see again how Hobart, how they look. Again, along with Boone Grove, of course, a team we don't see as much, how they kind of hold up against the big bad Hobart Brickies.
Yep, and Hobart's a team that always reloads, though. You know, like you said, 7-3 last year. That's a down year they view it as. You know, so they're always a team that seems to reload. So I want to see who's gonna stand out this year.
Sure.
You know, it may not be a name. It may not be names that we know now, but come 5-6 weeks into the season, it's gonna be names that everybody knows.
Very similar kind of team makeup to the Valparaiso Vikings. A little bit about them in 2023. They went 9-3. Again, another just fantastic season under Bill Marshall. I think he's won some sort of championship every season since he's kind of taken over full-time in 2018. They did lose at Maryville in the regional championship. I don't know how much you guys remember that game, but that came down to literally the final play. Valpo had a chance to win it in a pass breakup, I think from, again, about 30 yards out. A potential game-winning touchdown was broken up, and again, Valpo had high hopes coming into that year. Nonetheless, you know, it's tough to kind of repeat if that's what they were going for. As always, that's your end goal. Tried to repeat as champions, as they won, of course, in 2022. But again, you know, they lose a couple guys. You know, Justin Clark, their quarterback, obviously dual threat. Travis Davis, although he went down last year late in the season, he's another guy, of course, you'd like to have. Also, Hoffer going to Toledo, another offensive lineman that's, you know, Valpo just tends to pump out.
Yep.
Ty Veen, Ampliotis, couple defensive pieces for sure. As a nice pitch and catch there to Willie Shearer. Looked like a wheel route or something. But, yeah, it's interesting to see, again, Valpo. I'm interested to talk with Marshall a little bit. New faces as well. I'm kind of interested to see when they kind of get to this side of the field, see who's at that quarterback spot. I got a feeling Thomas Bird is one of those guys. He's going to be at that running back spot for Valparaiso. But a couple receivers, too. Again, there's some guys that got to be kind of flung into places that hopefully today they can kind of make those decisions and find those spots.
And Berta was a guy who stepped up big for him last year in Davis's injury. He produced a lot and made a lot of big-time plays. You know, like harp on what you said regarding, you know, the line. I mean, every year you come out, you know, it's like there's just another 6'5" guy for Valparaiso that comes out. It's like, okay, this guy's going to a Division I school. You know, every year it's someone new. There's consistency with Valparaiso that you come to expect year in and year out. The line's always one thing. Toughness, you know. You always expect a couple things that you get every year out of Valparaiso. I expect nothing different this year.
As much as we kind of talked about Boone Grove being the new wave of offense here, Valpo, it kind of dials it back. And, hey, that's no complaints. That's no disrespect to Valpo. They know what they're good at. They're going to punch you in the mouth and get up and punch you again. And it's the run game. They'll throw it when they need to. Again, they got a solid receiver coming back in Julian Stokes, also great on special teams, but they pride themselves on the run game.
And you can't really argue with the results, right? I mean, if it weren't working for them, maybe you tell them to switch it, but it's worked excellent for them so far, especially under Coach Marshall. I mean, yeah, proof is in the pudding. You know, they run the ball better than almost anybody. So,
Hobart doing a great job here, kind of right in front of us. They're kind of throwing the ball around a little bit. Look, getting their running backs involved a lot. I think that was Max Pickett there, who had a strong sophomore season, also was a linebacker. Boone Grove hoping to kind of tighten down the hatches again. It's mid-July. We're still trying to find those pieces, but Hobart seemed to have their way a little bit. But, yeah, Valpo, it's a new standard here. Again, in 7 seasons as head coach, or going to be his 7th year, Bill Marshall, 61-14. Not terrible. Again, as I mentioned, he's won at least a sectional title in every year since he fully took over in 2018.
Not shabby.
Not shabby at all. And again, he's Valpo. I accidentally said up and coming, but they have grown. They're becoming one of those top teams to worry about here.
I'm impressed thus far with the Hobart offense. Like you said, they keep going down to the running back. I like what I'm seeing so far on this side of the field. From our vantage point down here, the canopy, what's having a little bit of a harder time seeing Valparaiso and Calumet. So we're seeing a bit more action from Hobart and Boone Grove. But I like what I've seen thus far. How about you, Mike?
Definitely. I'm definitely going to stick around a little bit. The 11-on-11 portion that kind of starts at approximately 7 o'clock. That's when we get everybody going. That's when you could run it, you could throw it, and you could do whatever you want. That's what we're most excited for.
Oh, that's the most fun part. Get some hitting going. We got some hitting going now. I mean, we've got the line working over there for to our left for Calumet and Valparaiso. Been seeing the big boys going at it. That's my personal spot. You know, I played O-line. You know, junior year dropout. What can I say? But you know, that's my favorite.
Plenty of respect for it. Again, they're the unsung heroes. Yeah, one-on-one's always a lineman staple. Calumet, of course, a great test against always a pretty solid Valpo O-line. Calumet, again, looking to kind of fill some pieces and hopefully kind of bounce back in Charles Salary's 2nd year as head coach over there.
They got some big kids over there, Calumet. You got some big kids. They're not that outmatched size-wise against Valparaiso. That's a good sign for them. Ball to the back corner here on the right side with.
And Calumet, they'll open up at home against Osceola Grace on the 23rd of August. Another big game, week 2 at River Forest. Always a fun kind of conference. I love the GSSC. Again, a lot of guys. I see a lot of two-way guys. You get some superstars out there, kind of in that conference. And again, a lot of teams that get pretty familiar with each other.
Exactly. Especially when you cover all the sports for all those different teams, like you said, names just get familiar. You see them on the baseball team, the basketball team, and the football team. So you get guys that are just like the kings of their schools. They may not be as big as some of the 5 and 6A schools.
Sure.
But man, do they become household names.
Definitely. Again, Mike Dewan here. Zach Miller producing / helping me out on the mic. I could only say so much. It's always nice to have another guy on the mic for sure. Zach Sinelli's up top, shooting some more action shots. Again, we got Hobart, Valparaiso, Calumet, and Boone Grove squaring things off, getting ready for the real season. But they got some tune-up first. And, again, it's some of the first look we've had at some of these programs.
A little screenplay here from Hobart. Always a fan of the screenplay, Man, I always, when I'd run it in Madden or NCAA, it never works for me. I always seem to have poor timing on it. But right there, Hobart had great timing on it.
That's a great segue because I actually wanted to bring this up during the broadcast.
Oh, I knew you would.
In football, kind of football news / gaming, college football came out, the new video game, after 10 years, and I bought the game as a football fan, and one of the first things I did was kind of check the rosters, kind of see, hey, we got real players' names in there finally, see if there's any names maybe I know, and I'm a Notre Dame guy. Didn't go there, just a huge fan. And one of the first things, I'm checking their roster as my favorite team, and I see a name like Drake Bowen, which is awesome. See, he's in the game. Of course, the Andrean standout from a few years ago. Another name I noticed was Kenneth Grant, who's coming in at a 91 overall, a defensive tackle for, of course, the national champion Michigan Wolverines, obviously from Maryville. He's going to be a stud, and he may even be a future prospect here in the
draft prospect.
Yeah, I mean, he's a beast, and I'm sure there's plenty of other names that I have not seen yet. A couple freshmen that are, I haven't seen that are in the game yet, but they will be probably in, maybe next year's installation. It just goes to show. Again, you mentioned the growth of football up here. It's it's for real. Again, D1 talent, whatever it may be, it's no joke.
Mike, sometimes we really don't realize it until you see things like that where you're just in an off time, you're playing the game or something, and you see a kid that you covered. It really brings a great amount of gratitude and perspective on what we really get to do. I mean, right now we're sitting here covering a football scrimmage. We're getting paid for this. I mean, this is a fun time, man, and it really it gives you a different perspective. It's like, wow, the people that you cover, you get to play as them. And those are two big-time players. Kenneth Grant, that's potentially a first-round pick this year. I mean, he was making plays in the national championship this year.
He's a beast, along with some other region guys that I'm sure I'll find as I log plenty of hours on that game, but nonetheless, there's a deep ball there from Hobart. Again,
what a play.
I'm interested to see again. We got to find out who's kind of at that quarterback position for Hobart. I know, again, they had some young guys coming up. They're looking good so far.
Like what I see so far.
What's up? Whenever you're ready. Okay. All right, I think we're going to have our first interview of the night with Boone Grove head coach, Coach Dan Kulski. I'm going to hand over the mic here. Here we go. We're going to get sit wherever you want. We'll give this to you.
Okay.
Back here, got our first coach interview of the night. I'm here with Boone Grove head football coach Dan Kulski. Coach, how are we doing today?
We're good. We're good. It's nice being out here tonight. Appreciate you guys coming out in the first place.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah. We're playing up a little bit today, and we can tell. And it's
sure.
But we have the mindset that we want our kids to know what they can be.
Okay.
Make sure the competition that they're providing is good.
Sure.
And I think it bodes well for them. We played last week or a couple weeks ago out at St. Francis.
Okay.
We had Hobart, McCutcheon, Central Noble, Fishers. I mean, obviously, you start playing those bigger schools, you kind of get overwhelmed at times.
Yeah,
but
that's kind of what I get into. Again, we were looking at kind of the teams here. You guys are 2A. We have a 3A, a 4A, and a 5A. How do you, as a coach, again, you've been around here. You know, it's not typically the biggest school around, of course. How do you kind of get your guys ready? Hey, you know, you guys are kind of the underdogs. You guys may have a chip on your shoulder. Don't be overwhelmed. Just play football, and this is going to get you better for when we're playing conference opponents and schools that, maybe,
Right.
come playoff time is our class level.
A lot of these guys have been playing for a while now. They've been starting
Sure.
since they were freshmen. And we said it early. We told them, you guys have the confidence in yourselves.
Sure.
You can preach about that all the time, but when you get out here and you do this stuff, that's when they really start to realize, yeah, I can do this. All small schools have a problem, at least I think they do. When you're going in a regular practice and you take your ones and you put them up against your twos, there's a little bit more of a fall off than what you have at a Valpo. Okay, so we try and get to these things more often than
Sure.
not, so we can get the ones some good work.
Okay.
That's the honest truth.
Okay, I kind of wanted to talk eventually a little bit about the summer and how you had things laid out, but you mentioned you had a lot of guys starting as freshmen. Now they work their way up here. One of those guys I wanted to mention was your quarterback, Mark Rowland. 4-year start, I think, from what I see. He had a fantastic season last year, and, of course, just the career here. Talk to me about him as well as maybe some other guys who maybe are the proven leaders. I know you guys graduated a little bit of talent from that last year's squad, which was pretty, a solid team. But talk to me about Roland, his play, his leadership, as well as the other guys that are potentially coming up and
his freshman year, it scared me. I didn't want to play him.
Yeah, really?
So we kind of held him out, but there was a point where where he's the best player on the field for that position.
Okay.
You got his bumps and bruises.
Sure.
Last year, he kind of came out of his shell. This year, all of the seniors went through a leadership program with Coach Shriber, and after that, he seemed to open up, and his leadership quality has really stepped up a lot this season. He believes in himself.
Sure.
He has the best work ethic. If my grandson's playing soccer at the Dome, Mark will be at the other end throwing the ball with some guys in the off season. He's that kind of driven. He's got his receiving partner, Samir Del Rio, the guy he likes to throw to a lot. Warning out there, but he likes to throw to him a lot. Those guys have been growing up together. They've played when they were kids.
Tight-knit group.
Right. So
for sure.
Otherwise, Chris Gonzalez, our running back position. On defense, Hunter Anthony, Khalid Alzir, and our Mike linebacker. Khalid's been playing the Mike spot for 4 years.
Gotcha.
I mean, it's their time. They're hungry.
Guys that grow with this program. Yep. One of the things, again, you talk about these seniors, and I think one of the coolest things these seniors got to experience, this is what they called this place home for a little bit.
Yep.
And now I remember you guys, I think, opened up against Bishop Knoll late into the season. Of course, you guys got a new field. Again, congrats to you guys on that. And, of course, you've been here for a number of years. What's it like seeing, again, the program go from maybe where you had it, when you first started, to where it's at now? Obviously, a lot of money going into this program, a lot of trust, a lot of community kind of backing this program, as well as seeing maybe those, again, guys that were once freshmen, now seniors get to experience, hey, this is a different kind of Boone Grove program from when I started.
That night, the night we opened up, I've been with the program since 2009 when it started on the staff.
Wow.
Became head coach 2017.
Okay.
You got to imagine getting on a bus every single game. Every single game.
It's not easy.
So these kids. And that night we opened up against Bishop Knoll. It was pouring rain.
Yeah.
Looked back in the stands. The stands are packed. They were packed the whole night.
That's awesome.
Former players on the field, former players in tears.
Yeah.
The nice thing about it, in January, we opened our weight room up. And the weight room and the locker rooms and all that.
That's huge, too.
And the kids love it. Okay. They love to come to the workouts. They were going Anytime Fitness to get a good workout. Now Coach, we come in at 7 in the morning. Open it up for you guys.
Sure.
So it's a really nice thing.
That's awesome.
And a lot of credit's got to go to Josh Russell, our athletic director, Mr. Corman, Mr. Rosinia, the administrators at the high school, Stacy Schmidt, Dr. Schmidt. I mean, they've all been behind it, and they did it the right way. They waited till they made sure it was right, and the timing was good, and the facility is beautiful. Everybody, we had our first scrimmage out there with Tri-County, Bishop Knoll, and Culver Community. and they all came out there and nothing but positive praise. We walked them through. We got 10 squat racks in there. I mean, it's just
awesome.
You got 40 kids and 10 squat racks. You can get a lot of lift in it.
Heck yeah,
So,
for sure.
yeah.
That's again, congrats to you guys on
Thank
that.
you.
Two more things. I think there's kind of two parts to the summer. I think there's pre-moratorium week and post-moratorium week. Talk to me about the differences maybe you have. I know maybe that pre is kind of more install, kind of seeing what you guys got. Maybe post, it's like, okay, time to bear down the hatches, time to get things going.
100%. We came in, we took a lot of our younger guys, some of our JV guys, a lot of our freshmen that came in, start with the installs, start getting them up to where we want them to be, adjust what we need to adjust depending on who we have to play. Then after, once moratorium had finished, we had a staff meeting beforehand, and we talked about, okay, these guys are the ones, now it's time to concentrate.
Sure.
We had a sit-down meeting with all our guys and said, look, these are our guys, our number ones. They've earned the spots in the offseason. Now we got to start working. That's not to say they're locked in, because there's a lot of practice to go before we have to lock people in.
Sure.
So.
Sure, and talking about practice, we'll kind of round out with this, but what do you kind of want to see from your guys today? And then as we kind of get more towards August and week one, what's kind of the end goal? What do we kind of want to see most from this group out here today?
Today, we just want to make sure that they have built some confidence.
Sure.
We've been doing this with Coach Marshall and Valpo for a couple of years, and they really help us out. They give our boys a lot of confidence. The whole team is just great to our kids. They're like the big brother. Yeah. We're just south of them. They're our big brother. They always have. We played here for how many years?
Right.
You know, it was our home field. So
their second home in a way.
Yeah,
now we can call it a second home. Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's moving forward when the season actually begins. We won conference last year. We'd like to repeat.
Sure.
We'd like to go into sectionals, dropping down into 2A. We were in 3A last year. We won a sectional playoff game as a 3A team last year. First time we ever did that. We beat Twin Lakes. We think we can make a decent run in sectionals. Of course, we run into the issue that everybody knows is out there, the private school situation.
Sure.
I mean, Lafayette Central Catholics and regionals and so forth. So, but we're going to give it a run. This is what it's about.
That's why we're here today. So,
exactly.
Coach, again, I thank you so much. We got plenty more here from Valparaiso High School. Again, Coach Kulski of Boone Grove. I'm Mike DeWan here at the Region Sports Network, the only game in town.
Thinking about what to do after high school? Consider a career with Boilermakers Local 374. As a Boilermaker apprentice, you'll earn while you learn. We offer excellent wages and benefits, and as part of our no-cost hands-on apprenticeship program, you'll learn from the best in state-of-the-art training centers and on the job. Become a union Boilermaker and get on your way to a great career. Find out more, visit www.local374.org or call 219-845-1000.
I'm Crowell Company's Lantern Man. I'll cover your motorcycle. I'll be with you on the water. I'll be with you on the snow. I'll cover your insurance needs wherever you go. I'll be at Crowell Agency from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. As Crowell Company's Lantern Man, I'm your insurance superhero.
Crowell Companies, the insurance professionals in Highland, Maryville, and Michigan City.
Zach Miller here, back with the Region Sports Network. We're here looking at the Valparaiso scrimmage here, featuring the four teams: Boone Grove, Hobart, Calumet, and Valparaiso. Currently taking a look at the linemen of Valparaiso and Boone Grove. Earlier it was Valparaiso, Calumet. They're matching up pretty well. Currently having Calumet and Hobart are doing 7-on-7s. In the second part of the scrimmage, we'll be having the 11-on-11 between the four teams. We are also doing coach interviews between the four. We are going to speak here soon enough with Charles Sallery, head coach of the Calumet Warriors. Great day for football out here. A bit humid, a bit hot, but not as bad as the last couple days. You know, fortunately, everybody has making recovery from the storms from the last two nights, particularly last night. And Hammond lost power for many in South Hammond. Deep shot. A lot of teams throwing it deep here early. You know, post-moratorium, you know, we're in the middle of July. But I'm quite impressed with the teams, the willingness they have to throw it deep. A lot of good football out here today. Not as rusty as you would think for mid-July. All teams out here coming to form, really showing some good football. As just announced on the PA, we are beginning the 4th period of the scrimmage. In a moment, we will have Mike DeWan will speak with Coach Bill Marshall of Valparaiso.
Back here at Valparaiso High School, I'm Mike DeWan here with Valparaiso football head coach Bill Marshall. Coach, how are we doing today?
We're doing good. It's a lot cooler than it was yesterday with those storms coming through, but it's still a little hot.
It's been brutal. Talk to me. What have you seen so far from you guys this summer? Obviously, pretty successful year last year. A couple new faces. I know you guys got to kind of throw in the rotation, but nonetheless, this is what we're here for. So talk to me about your
absolutely.
boys.
It's been an exciting summer. We've had the opportunity to have Hammond Central and Hammond Morton come over. Both are talented groups, great coaching staffs, and fared pretty well against them. Now we get to kind of host the Lake County versus Porter County with Boone Grove and Calumet and Hobart behind us. But just a great opportunity for some football. As you mentioned, offense, we're returning most guys, with the exception of a couple of key positions.
Sure.
Defensively is where we took the biggest hit in terms of graduation, but we have some very able-bodied guys that were JV players for us last year. Some of them that got a few kind of reps here on the varsity level, but we return everybody in the secondary with the exception of Tyler Verschure.
Sure.
And so he's obviously going to be missed. And then obviously the linebacking core, guys like Sammy Ampliotis and Ty Veen. And then my entire defensive line actually is gone. But as I mentioned, great guys that
Sure.
have kind of watched and learned from those guys ahead of them. And it's kind of been our theme since I've been here is just next man up mentality.
Since you've been here, I kind of want to talk about this potential, the potential new standard, I want to say, of Valparaiso football. Since you took over in 2018, you guys have won some sort of postseason trophy since you've took over. Talk to me maybe about, again, I know Valpo was always a solid football team prior to the era of where we're at now, but nonetheless, you guys have been fantastic in your tenure here. Talk to me about, again, the people involved with that. Obviously, I know it's a full hands-on operation from beyond the players on the field and the coaches on the sideline. Talk to me about what these past few years have been at the helm here at Valparaiso.
It's just been a blessing. I mean, I'd be remiss if we didn't look back on Coach Hoffman's historic career and obviously give kudos not only to him but Coach Stokes and the foundation that they laid, but to be able to kind of take the torch from that and the standard that they set has been outstanding, and then to carry it on even further and be able to put up in the banners up there another state championship as well as another runner-up. It's just been a blessing for us. And, we do it with a great community, great support from our school district.
For sure.
And we do it, again, with just a great staff. We're upwards now. I think we're slightly above 80% of my staff are Valpo alumni.
Awesome.
We actually just added, 3 new staff members this year that were on our 2019 runner-up team.
Wow.
So C.J. Opperman, our quarterback that year, Ben Scott, our tackle, and Eli Sewell, one of our kickers that year, have all come home really to be a part of it as well. And I think that's how you kind of build that culture and that tradition is by getting those guys to come back home, establish their lives, raise families, and do those types of things.
It's powerful. About this team on the field, I think I'm going to ask this to every coach tonight, but I think there's 2 stages to the summer. There's pre-moratorium week and there's post-moratorium week. I know, again, the pre is maybe seeing what guys you got, kind of get them acclimated, and then post is like, okay, let's get to it. Where we are today, basically. Talk to me about maybe what the difference is between the two, or similarities.
Sure.
And kind of how your coaching kind of philosophy is between those two periods.
Yeah, nothing, as you well know, with the IHSAA rules is mandatory, but you get your spring allotment of time, April to May, where you get to do some on-field stuff, and we push multi-sport athletes, so we got a lot of kids that were in baseball and in track, and so really that first phase of summer, as you mentioned, is getting acclimated, getting everybody here that can be here, and getting all on the same page, kind of knocking off the rust a little bit from a long off season where a lot of time is spent in the weight room working on the physical side, and then bringing the physical to the field, and now doing the mental aspects of it, the X's and O's. And then in the back half, as you mentioned, July, we like to focus in on a lot of competition like you see today, but also a lot of team bonding and camaraderie things. So, next week, we had traditionally gone to a camp, which we're no longer going to, just something outside of our control. But we want to bring that kind of same semblance back home. And Monday, we're going to do a mush ball game between the coaches and seniors versus the sophomores and juniors. We're going to go ahead on Tuesday. We've rented out our VAC, which is our aquatic center. We're going to have all of our freshmen, managers, players, coaches, etc. in the pool. We got food trucks coming. And then on Wednesday, for our varsity and JV group, we actually rented out a theater at the Imagine Theater, and we're going to watch a movie together.
Those are awesome.
Those are the times that they remember. They never remember the conditioning. I don't know why. That's a joke, obviously. Exactly. But they remember those times, that bond that they spend together, and being able to have those guys come out, and we have graduates not just on our coaching staff, but I see guys walking up and down our sideline, which has been huge, I think, for us to bring everybody back home and enjoy their time here.
Definitely, for sure. I'll kind of round you out with this, but week one, it's never easy. Again, Penn, we know how fun that game could be. Talk to me again. What do you want to see kind of from this team? Also, what have you maybe seen from Penn? You know it's going to be a tough game, but week one, maybe what do you want to see from a head coach perspective from your team to be satisfied?
I mean, coming off of last year against Penn, I want to see us to compete and finish. If you look at that game down to the wire, very, very close. There were some plays that we didn't make defensively and offensively, to be honest. But we were able to put points up. We weren't able to stop as many points as they wanted to put on the board. Even with the outcome, it was a closer game. And then, other than that, I want to see us compete. I think the big thing for us is traveling to Penn. Anytime you go into a position like that against a team like that has such a huge stature about them, you want to come out and compete. It's different when you host them at home. Go in there, Freed Field with their great fan base. You just want to see a good outcome and see our kids compete.
Let's do it. That's all we got here. Bill Marshall of Valparaiso. I'm Mike Dewan here with the Region Sports Network, the only game in town. Back here at Valparaiso High School. This is Mike Dewan here. Again, just talked to a pair of good dudes, Coach Kulski of Boone Grove. Again, a program we only kind of see, looking at on paper, but we never truly see them in person. So it was awesome to kind of chat it up with him, as well as Bill Marshall. We're well familiar with the Valparaiso program, but always good, again, to see him. Again, two good dudes. Obviously, they hoping for the best this year. Two talented teams, as we've seen so far. And we got more to come here from Valparaiso.
When you're able to talk to the two head coaches of those two teams, it's easy to see the success they've had, particularly in the past years, right?
Yeah, again, both long tenured head coaches. I want to say Kulski, 8th year. Again, he said he's been on staff since 2009,
since they started,
since the inception of the Boone Grove football program, and he's literally seen it all. Obviously, we touched on their their new digs they got over there at the high school. Of course, a fantastic football facility, and then Bill Marshall has really kind of taken over again and is going to be his 7th year at Valparaiso. Over here, we kind of have Hobart and Calumet right in front of us. I saw Calumet. They had a couple big plays on offense. Again, Hobart, pretty typically stout defense, but Calumet, they were kind of airing it out and I think having a little bit of success from what I saw.
I was taking a look at it when you were away for a moment. I was speaking on how, all all these teams I'm seeing, they're not afraid to go deep and air it out in this scrimmage. All 4 of them I've seen, they're not afraid to go deep.
It's just, I'm very interested again. 7-on-7, there's a lot of factors that don't go into it. You don't have an O-line.
Yeah.
You typically don't have refs. So when the 12-on-12, 11-on-11 happens a little bit later on, we kind of catch a few glimpses of that. That's what I'm really interested to see, how these teams look.
Right. It's a little different when you have 7-on-7. It makes everything look a little prettier. But when you put the line in play, that's when real football is played. When you put that line in, then you start to see when the real game's played. And don't worry, you said 12-on-12. I do it every time. I don't know why. It's like I forget that there's a center out there when there's 7-on-7. I keep wanting to say 12-on-12.
I think it's because I think of like Texas A&M or like the Seattle Seahawks, and I think of like the 12th man.
Yep.
And for some reason, I'm like, oh yeah, they got 12 guys out there. When I know, obviously, again, I played football all my life, and I'm saying 12 people, which I don't know. It's hot outside. We could say that. Heat's getting to me.
Yeah.
Luckily, we got a great shade provided from our executive producer, Chris Ramirez, who is tuning in tonight, keeping us relatively cool as the sun kind of sets here at Valparaiso High School. But it looks like teams are kind of taking a break here a little bit, obviously kind of going through some sessions, and everything's kind of broken down into kind of 10-minute increments. And we're kind of switching around a little bit. Hobart and Calumet just faced off. We're going to kind of see, I think, on the other side of the field from Zach Zanelli's standpoint, Hobart and Valparaiso, which is definitely on paper an appealing matchup. But Boone Grove Calumet too. Again, 2 conference mates, although there are in differing divisions, they can get after it, I bet.
Yep, it's nice to see 2 conference foes go against each other, and then obviously see the 2 big boys here, particularly in Hobart and Valparaiso. This is, before we get to 11-on-11, this is the primetime matchup so far.
I'd say so. When it's our last matchup until a 5-minute break, they'll have, again, once they switch after 10 minutes, they'll go until about 6:55. They'll take a little 5-minute break, and then they'll eventually get to the 11-on-11 scrimmage. That's when I bet coaches will be won't have much luck be able to talk to them. Obviously, that's a big period, as all of your guys are into it. But nonetheless, we're excited to see. We're excited what we've been seeing so far here tonight. Back here at Valparaiso High School, this is Mike Dwan here with the Region Sports Network. Again, as we see looks like another deep ball there. Again, Hobart's kind of looking for some guys that could step in spots. TJ Caldwell was a name. Again, the North-South All-Star had a fantastic weekend. He's a guy, again, he's not going to be suiting up for Hobart this year. He's on playing at the collegiate level, so someone's got to step up in his place. And, it's going to be interesting to see that Hobart passing attack in this period. As well as, again, over here, two conference mates, Calumet and Boone Grove, going at it a little bit. Hearing the pads popping. Calumet, again, looking to kind of bounce back in Charles Salary's second year at the helm, who took over for Cody French, who is now at Michigan City. Hoping to get a chance to talk to Salary maybe in this 5-minute break, him and or Coach Shriber of Hobart. But a good night here at Valparaiso High School. Again, the fans are all out, music's playing. It's the weather has officially kind of cooled down. It's feeling good out here. It is really about that time. We thank you once again for tuning in. Zach Miller back from a slight concession run. Feeling good.
The hospitality cannot be overstated here from Valparaiso High School.
Definitely.
We're able to make a run to the concession stand, get some electrolytes, a hot dog in between the break. I mean, it wouldn't be a broadcast for me. This might be one of my first times talking on the broadcast.
Sure.
But it definitely will not be one of my first times eating on a broadcast.
For sure. Well, again, plenty to shout out here at Valparaiso, of course. Who we just talked to, Bill Marshall. He was fantastic. Always hospitality. We're always welcome here, as well as athletic director Stacy Adams and Don Clark got us all set up here. He and I were in direct contact with our potential setup and got us on the field. Gave us a table, some chairs, and a power, and we're good to go. So a big shout out to Don Clark, as well as everybody associated with Valparaiso High School here tonight.
Incredible as always. One of the best places we're able to go to in the region.
Plenty more football coverage coming up, too. Maybe not particularly live streamed, but there's plenty of more scrimmages coming up that we anticipate going out to. Almost a deep ball there from Calumet. That's what you want to see. Again, a couple new faces at some important positions. It's what Coach Salary wants to see. And Boone Grove, again, Coach Kulski kind of talked about it. They're playing up a little bit today, and they're trying to find those guys. They have some 4-year starters that are some proven leaders, but they can only do so much. They got to tighten down the hatches and maybe some other spots.
I was interested to hear that they moved down from 3A to 2A this year.
I saw that too. I was a little interested in that. Again, some schools they're kind of falling back in enrollment, but in terms of the football program, obviously a lot of trust, as we alluded to. Their own digs over there at their own stadium, and they still have pretty solid numbers from what I've seen. But yeah, interesting.
And that's only going to bode well for them, though. I mean, like you said, they won a playoff game at 3A. They beat Twin Lakes this past year.
Sure.
So you move down a division. You still have Roland under center. I mean, that's the expectation. He said when talking to you that they want to make a run this year. And, I mean, moving down to 2A, that can only help their chances.
Yeah, they end up losing at Hanover. They played Hanover Central very well in their loss last year. In, I believe, the semis of the sectionals. Hanover, of course, not very easy. They moved up, believe it or not. They're now 4A, but they're, of course, solid in 3A. They very well could have been sectional champs, probably even regional champs. They're, again, a fantastic program that's also on the upswing. But, yeah, moving down, it's going to be interesting to see what their sectional is. He kind of alluded to it, but, of course, 2A, you got, Andrain. They're always kind of lurking, as well as some other schools that he mentioned. So it'll be interesting. Again, I bet they'll definitely be a little bit more competitive. But nonetheless, that they already show that they can hang with a class that's beyond where they're at now.
Right. I mean, they can more than hang in their own conference. They won it last year, So now it's a matter of maintaining that momentum and moving into the postseason.
That's the money season, they call it. That's when it's win or go home, and that's when the games are most important. And again, it'll be interesting to see how Boone Grove could fare in the 2A level.
I'll tell you what, they have the offense to beat anybody in the state. You know, when you have a guy like Roland under center and the production that he's put up and will put up this year, you can beat anybody if you get the offense rolling. It's a matter of getting the run game passable and the defense making a couple stops.
Got to play complementary football. As great as one unit could be, everyone's got to do their job, including special teams as well. It's a third of the game. You could have a great offense, but you got to have it's a total team effort.
That's what wins the championships. No team ever wins when it's just one side of the ball doing it all. You know, even if you do it for most of the season, when you got to win the game, everything's got to come together, all sides.
Coming up on about 1 minute left of this session. I believe they still have to switch, to my knowledge.
Yep.
Yes, they still have to switch, I believe. That'll be coming up here pretty shortly.
Yep, this has been the fifth session, starting at 6:45. It's been a little longer than that, right? I want to say they started maybe a couple minutes before that.
Probably.
So, a couple minutes left here, second half of this session. Then we'll get a 5-minute break, and then we'll be moving on to 11 on 11. Important day as well to get officials trained here today. There's a heavy contingent of officials training here. We saw them during our interviews. They were looked like maybe 20 officials in total, just going over what to expect, different signals to make. You know, it's the off season for the officials too.
Definitely,
it's not just players and coaches.
Kind of got to knock the rust off here. It's what the summer's for. Yeah, before we went on, Bill Marshall kind of laid things down for us, and he said even the officials are here kind of training around and getting ready to go. And it's, again, these summer months, it's as we get a ball over here kind of by our setup here, almost made me want to jump on it. But nonetheless, it's a lot of rust, not only to be knocked off for the players and even maybe the coaches, but the referees, which, I mean, they control the game. They're important as ever, and their job is they should never go overlooked in a game like this.
It's nice to see some new faces, some new officials this year. Well, you can never use enough officials. It's such a thankless job. They're so important.
Period 6.
Rarely praised for what they do. It's always the contrary.
Yeah, but whenever they do something wrong, it's, the officials did this, they do that, they didn't do this. But never when they do a good job. And they're so important. They're necessary. Correct. You can't have a game without the officials.
No, sir.
And that's why I would thank anyone that does it. And if you would like to be an official, reach out to the IHSAA. Always looking for officials, all sports.
Couldn't agree more. Here in front of us is the Boone Grove offense. We'll also see a little bit on the other side. Will be the Valpo offense against Hobart's defense.
Excited to see this one.
Let's do it. 1 minute. We're going to get Calumet coach Charles Salary's coming over here right now, so we'll get us set up. At Valpo High School here with the Region Sports Network, I'm Mike Dewana. Next up is Calumet head football coach Charles Salary. Coach, how are we doing today?
Doing good. This is a good day, beautiful day. We had a bad storm yesterday.
Yes.
We're glad to play football today. So.
Bad is an understatement. We're in a prime time spot right here with your boys right back here. What have you seen so far from your guys?
I'm seeing a lot of great things today. We're doing a great job of getting off to the flats. I thought we struggled with that at the beginning of the year.
Okay.
I thought we did a good job, especially in that last team session, and then get Hobart, doing a good job of getting our guys the ball in space and letting them do their thing.
You mentioned you guys are kind of one of the smaller schools here, and then you mentioned you scrimmage Chesterton as well as Bishop Knoll. I've kind of noticed the trend. You're kind of playing up a little bit again. You're playing some bigger schools, maybe. Talk to me about what the test that brings to your guys and how that prepares them for the season.
Yeah, we probably only got 35 guys. You know what I mean? But we're going to make sure that we have the toughest 35 guys out there on the field. So that was our big emphasis, is winning the line of scrimmage with our O-line and our D-line. And so, what better way to do it than to play some dueling teams?
Couldn't agree more. Talk to me about some of your guys, maybe any position groups or maybe some names out there that have surprised you so far, and maybe what are you looking to improve?
Yeah, we got Javon Lawrence. He's a senior receiver in our safety. In my opinion, he's one of the top receivers in this region. He does a great job. He can get the ball out in space. He can catch the ball at any type of radius, as well as both sides of the ball. He can cover a lot of field. Eric Allen, he's a very good slot as well. Also plays the other safety position. Jeremiah Henderson's a good D-line for us. And JoJo Pops, man, he's a sophomore, big guy, great motor. So it's a very exciting group. We have a very experienced O-line, so we're basically all seniors but JoJo. So very excited to see what they do this year.
We'll write those names down then. Your second year as Calumet head coach, what have was there? I don't want to call it culture shocks, but what have you learned after your first year and maybe kind of going into the second year at the helm?
Yeah, it's definitely different than Michigan City. Being an assistant coach under Coach Mason over there. We're able to go one side of the ball. We had to deal with the two sides. So, I was struggling to get, practices scheduled on both sides. But I kind of got a feel for it now. Kind of just taking a day at a time and, getting the guys bought in. And they had a great summer so far, and I just hope to continue it.
Definitely about the summer. I've been asking this to the first two coaches I've talked to, but I kind of classify the summer as two different periods. It is pre-moratorium week and post-moratorium week. Pre-moratorium, it's kind of like, okay, we got these guys, here's our numbers. Post is like, okay, let's expand the playbook, let's get these guys going. Talk to me maybe about your coaching philosophy and how maybe those two different periods maybe are similar or maybe different.
Yeah, pre-moratorium, we just run one run play, just inside zone. But, as we got back from break, now we're starting to implement a lot more stuff. These coaches are starting to get after our players a little bit more, and our players are accepting that and stuff. So it's a lot more competing, a lot more fast-paced, and a lot more classroom stuff as well.
Okay, talk to me about any future plans you have leading up to week one, and then just maybe a double barrel question here, but what do you kind of want to leave week one? What do you want to see from your guys? And hopefully, of course, you want to win, but what do you kind of want to see from guys to leave you satisfied, Coach?
Yeah, I think it's just number one, team camaraderie, making sure that guys are fighting for the man next to them. But another thing is just going out there and having fun. We got another scrimmage on Thursday with LaPorte and South Bend Adams, so we want to finish.
Teams,
we want to finish the week off strong, and then hopefully the next couple weeks kind of do some team building stuff as well as some team practicing, focusing on us. That way, when we hit week one, we know everything about each other. They know everything about the coaches, and we're ready to go week one.
Let's do it. Coach, I'll let you get back at it, but thank you so much. Again, Coach Salary. We're here at Valpo High School with the Region Sports Network, the only game in town. Save for a healthy tomorrow with an HSA checking account from Tech Credit Union. It's a tax-advantaged way to save and pay for healthcare expenses. You'll enjoy no setup fee, no annual fee, and easy access to funds. Plus, you'll earn a better-than-competitive dividend rate, currently at 2.27% APY. Visit techcu.org, contact any branch, or call 800-276-8324 to learn more. Tech Credit Union is federally insured by the NCUA. Rates may change without notice.
Earn while you learn from the best hands in the business. The Bricklayers Allied Craftworkers for Indiana Kentucky Apprenticeship. That's right, this is a paid apprenticeship.
I'm getting an education while learning a trade and getting paid for it.
The thing that surprised me the most about this apprenticeship program is the respect I have received after the proper time and training.
Classes start soon, so apply now. There are training centers throughout Indiana and Kentucky. We are the Bricklayers and Allied Craftworkers for Indiana Kentucky Apprenticeship. The best hands in the business.
Welcome back here to Valparaiso High School. This is Mike Dewan here with the Region Sports Network. Again, next to me, the producer / cameraman / on-air talent is Zach Miller, as well as Zach Zanelli up in the stands, getting us some awesome action shots of all this action here today. But yeah, we just talked with Coach Charles Salary of Calumet, second-year head coach. Obviously, some growing pains again. Year one, not the ideal season. A couple of new faces, of course, all around the board. but he's excited for his group, and he obviously, again, he mentioned he's playing up. He's getting his guys hopefully ready to come August.
And they're playing against LaPorte and South Bend.
I think Adams, yeah. So, again, just two schools that are, again, he played Bishop Knoll, which, again, they're on the come up, maybe pretty equal size-wise, but going to, playing Chesterton, coming here today, playing Boone Grove, who, again, had a solid year, Hobart, of course, and Valparaiso. I mean, that's a huge testament to him. Again, you got the cojones to kind of, schedule those teams and get your boys ready.
Like you said, you condition yourselves against these Dunan-like teams and these big 5A, 6A programs. I mean, you get to your conference play where it's half the enrollment, It's just easy. He was speaking on the fact I was impressed that all but one of their offensive linemen are seniors.
Sure,
that's going to be big. They're going to want to run the ball, and having 4 senior linemen, I was looking against, a team like Valparaiso, who's a bigger school and is known for their line play. They were holding their own in the line play from what I could tell, so I'm looking forward to, like you said, first year, getting the jitters out, getting the shakiness out, getting comfortable in the new position.
Mm-hmm.
I think second year, you can tell in the interview he's a lot more comfortable in his role. His team is a lot better than it was last year, I'd say, and I'm excited for what it's going to be this year. And he sounded excited as well talking to you.
Definitely. Great dude. First time I had the chance to meet him again, Calumet, one of those schools that we rarely, if ever, kind of get a chance to cover, which is why, again, we're so thankful to, again, be here today in the presence of all these teams. But, yeah, again, it's interesting looking at the teams here. You kind of have 2 teams. The first 2 coaches I've talked to, Boone Grove and Marshall. Kulski and Marshall. They're long tenured. They've been there for 7+ years. And now you look at kind of the other 2 coaches that we're eventually going to talk to. Salary, of course, in his second year, and Shriber, who's going to be his first year as head coach at Hobart.
Nice contrast.
Of course, he was at Westside for a few years, but he's still, he's young. He's I think I want to say like 26, something, in the 20s still. He's a young gun at just the salary, so it's going to be interesting, and it's a new dynamic between kind of between these 4 programs, being honest. But it's always good to kind of chat up with those guys.
Fun contrast to see. Being the head coach of the Hobart Brickies in your mid-20s, isn't that just daunting?
It's daunting to some, but again, we last saw Coach Eric Shriber Jr. on one of our 100-yard interviews back. We did in April or March, and again, he's all for it. He's ready. He knows, again, the community behind them. He knows, again, the Bricky lore that kind of goes with that job, but he's ready for it. And again, he knows what it takes. Again, he turned around a Westside program, where they're at a fantastic state now with what they're doing over there. But it was a program kind of trying to find their identity. Again, it's a program that's been around for a while, but he kind of turned them around in his few years there. And now, he jumped on staff with Craig Osika and took over kind of for him when Osika kind of resigned. So it's a Shriber Jr. era, and it's a lot to look forward to for Hobart.
He's used to turning around a program like Westside. If there's anybody who's able to do it, not that you have to turn around Hobart, he's going into a pretty good situation, but maybe other coaches, you'd say maybe it's a little too early, a little too big for the moment. Not for him. He's the perfect guy for the job.
And the community obviously knows that. They know how important that job is alone. It's daunting. It's definitely daunting. But he's ready for it. They know they got their guy, and it's going to be fun to see again some new faces on the field as well as on the sideline. So should be good. Looks like kind of break time here. Hobart's going to practice some kicks, I believe. We kind of saw this at a previous scrimmage we had, but teams are kind of getting a little bit of a water break here. Weather's obviously dying down, so it's not as hot as it was as we were setting up a few hours ago. But it is becoming a beautiful night here at Valparaiso. Again, plenty of talent across the board.
Nice boot.
Hobart they've had some pretty solid success in special teams in terms of sending their guys to the next level. I believe Xander Langford, I think he graduated last year. He was, I want to say, punter. I think he's going to Air Force. Again, solid punter. Again, they always seem to have pretty good special teams, and it's again, it's a third of the game. You know, they make sure they are well suited in all three phases of the game.
It's a third of the game. You can't forget about it. I believe it was about 15, 20 years ago in the NFL, the San Diego Chargers, they were first in the league in offense, first in the league in defense, but they were 32nd in the league in their special teams, and they missed the playoffs. They went 8-8. So there's no better example of being it's a 3/3 game, and if you don't have that special teams right, it won't work out for you.
Often overlooked, for sure. So next up after this, we'll get to some 11-on-11 action. Hobart will first meet up with Boone Grove. Kind of that same similar matchups of the first few periods we saw. As we see, we're getting things rolling. Hobart will be with Boone Grove, and Calumet will be with Valpo. So again, maybe two matchups that are, you know, again, a bigger school versus a relatively smaller school, but it kind of teaches a lot about both sides. Again, you gotta play up, and it's mentally challenging and maybe physically challenging, but it's I'm very interested to see how Boone Grove and Calumet comes out against these two bigger schools.
Yep, and you also got to play down as well. You know, for what it's worth. I mean, it's easy for us to say on the outside, but if you're a team like Valparaiso or Hobart and you got to play a smaller school, all the expectations are on you.
Sure,
you know what I mean. You do anything, they do anything. You do anything wrong, it's you should. You do anything right, it's of course you did that. You're the bigger school. You know you're supposed to do that. But, you know, everything's on you. So there's really nothing you can do wrong if you're the smaller school. So you got to play to the expectation.
Right. You have nothing to lose. I think I don't know if I'd call it playing down if you're one of the bigger schools, but you just got to play your game. You can't look at a team inferior because it's football. Anything could happen. If you're, you know, Coach Shriber or Coach Marshall maybe in this situation, you want to see your guys just play. Just play your game, play strong, play like you would if you were playing in a school that's bigger than you. Don't change anything. Keep that same mentality. And, again, I think it's kind of the same you could say for the teams that are, you know, again, maybe lesser in this situation. You got to play up and show me some more fire that I hopefully could see every Friday night.
Yep. And do what makes you good. Don't change what you do just because you're going up a team that's bigger than you, has more kids than you, bigger kids than you.
Sure.
You know at this point of the offseason, mid-July, you know who your better players are, and you have a decent idea of what you want to do for the season. So you got to go into that. You can't go in saying, okay, we got to change up our whole game plan just because this is a different team, a team that we probably won't play during the season. You know, you got to bring your best stuff, and that's where you really find out where you stand.
For sure. As we see here, Calumet and Valparaiso are kind of getting things going there. Calumet on offense over here in front of us is Boone Grove starting on 0 against the Hobart defense. Again, the name to look out for in blue or red, we can call it today, is Mark Rowland, the quarterback here for Boone Grove.
Hand off inside. Bounces out. Finally cooling down here, huh?
Yeah, it's nice. This is when, it's just sweet. A lot of trees here. We're facing west right now in Valparaiso, but with all these trees, it makes these premature sunsets very nice here. A lot of blockage, as we see now on your screen. As you look here. A good gain there from Boone Grove.
It's run outside.
Ken, it's a fun offense, man. It's a lot of movement from receivers and not a kind of misdirection there. We kind of saw a motion coming one way and they ran the other. They are fun to watch, and it gives a team again that kind of plays, you know, hard-nosed football. Kind of play things, you know, a little maybe not old-fashioned, but it's a culture shock a little bit.
Yep. I mean, that's what happens. Say on the other end of the spectrum, saying college football teams that run the wishbone still.
Sure.
You know, people might think it's an archaic offense, but when you don't prepare for it all year and you have to do 1 week to prepare for it, it catches people off guard.
Sure.
And that in an area like Northwest Indiana where people are more 3 yards in the cloud of dust, as I said earlier,
right.
Boone Grove can give that culture shock you're talking about where you're not used to it. You're not used to teams spreading you out, running motion, gunning all over the field.
Sure.
I mean,
another nice completion over there across the middle for Roland. Boone Grove's kind of moving around a little bit. Nice back shoulder ball, and he got it. He got it there.
Oh, to try and do camera work with a mic in your hand and a
you're
laptop.
doing all you can, but he caught that. It's again another good back shoulder ball from Mark Rowland, and that was pretty quick there for Boone Grove.
He is impressive, isn't he?
Yeah, it's.
I like what I've seen so far.
That's good work. Quick drive there. Saw a couple run plays. Saw the predominant passing attack, and you can't put that in a better spot. Again, back corner, easy for the receiver. Turn, ball's right in your hands.
That's what you practice. Put it in the bucket. Corner of the end zone.
Now with these 11-on-11 periods, these are 15 minutes. So plenty of time to work. Also some time to maybe mix in some backups, since this will be the only time you'll go up against this unit. So I'd imagine you may get about 10 minutes, maybe a little less of the starters, then start kind of rotating guys in as the time ticks down. Plus, some of these smaller schools, you got to save guys from defense a little bit.
Yeah.
Again, you got some guys playing two ways. Not saying, there's not two-way guys for Hobart and Valpo, because I know there are, but with smaller numbers, you got to fill guys in multiple spots.
Yep. Whereas schools like Hobart and Valpo,
you got that luxury.
It's a luxury. For schools like Boone Grove and Calumet, it's a necessity.
Sure.
A little bit of confusion here before the snap.
It's that kind of clap cadence there, I think.
Oh.
Don't know. It's tough to see you mess up there. Sometimes they do it on the second clap. The D lineman move, a couple D linemen move, they may have saw the ball move or something. Again, we see a lot more kind of the clapping, the clapping cadence too a little bit. Again, something you more see at the next level.
Yeah,
it's
definitely
no more
college
downset,
stuff.
no more downset hike. And good catch there.
Wow, strong catch. Fought off the defender, trying to rip at the ball.
He's been having a day. 13. I'd like to say that's the receiver that Kulski mentioned. I wish I had a roster. Yes, I wish I had a roster on me. That could be Samir Del Rio, but he's already. He mentioned that he's going to be Roland's number one guy. They grew up together and they throw to each other a lot, whether that's in season or out of season.
Spoke very highly of him. Said
can't miss him either with the neon green cleats, as we see right here on our screen, right here.
Look good, play good. Timber. I love me some line play, Mike. I can't help it.
Yeah, as much as you like to air the ball out, it's putting nose on nose and seeing who the bigger boys are. It's an adage old as time.
And get some syrup for the pancakes.
Sure.
That's part of football.
Can't go wrong with that.
Part of me, it's like, man, I wish I could put the pads back on. Then I'll get hit once or twice. I'm like, it's a little bit better.
I'm good over here on the sideline.
Behind the camera.
Yeah, I'm good.
I had to fight tooth and nail to get the power plugged in earlier.
Yeah, right.
Colin understands.
We
that was enough of my
Talk
exercise.
about that. Little fumble there. I ended up talking with 3 coaches so far, hoping to get a chance to talk to Coach Eric Shriber Jr. I understand, he's looking first year with, as head coach. He's got a lot to, got to watch his guys. He's, it's a lot to. It's a big season for Hobart. It's always a big season, and nonetheless, we're hoping to hopefully chop it up with him before this night's over. Good dude, nonetheless. Obviously, a lot to look forward to with that program. Again, what we've seen so far, Hobart's looking pretty solid. Good line play so far. I know they got some guys coming back. Always a big group. They always got some dudes. That could wreak havoc up there up front.
Get a lot of penetration. They've been meeting them, pushing that line of scrimmage back more than a handful of times already.
They've done a pretty good job on the run game. It's I bet Boone Grove maybe tries and air it out a little bit and test that coverage game.
See if they don't test that back pylon here near side of us.
A little jet pass there. Again, I like it, man.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome stuff. That's a completion for Roland. He likes those plays.
Oh, yeah.
That is a pass. That is no handoff.
Get the 3,700 in no time. You keep getting those.
And again, that's what they do. Again, they use all the width of the field, and they want to spread you out and hit it where, again, they see weakness. You got to cover not only the length but the width of the field. And it's a run. It's kind of a run, but it's technically a pass. As you see, you could run plenty of stuff off that as well. There's kind of an RPO, fake handoff there with the jet man, and again, they're spreading it out.
Ball.
He might have scored there too.
See the official stopping him 2 yards short.
They might just walk.
Walk it back.
Although it's good to kind of tune up on your red zone plays. You're 5 and in, you're 10 and in. You need those too. You're not going to score only long touchdowns like that, but they're going to walk it back.
Nope.
Yeah, got a pretty solid start. 5 minutes to go in this period, but Boone Grove's looking. Yeah, as all those graduates we talked about, they still have some very solid, as Kulski said, some senior talent that have been with this program since day one.
Yep. And plays like that, we were talking about them being so reliant on the pass game, but plays like that and the jet sweep beforehand, those are extensions of the run game. They may count as passes, technically speaking. Those are runs. Nice play on the ball by the Hobart defender. A lot of physicality in the scrimmage today, Mike.
Definitely. It's kind of that time where we're getting to it. We could afford to start hitting. Looking at Calumet's offense from our vantage point, again, trying to kind of get things going. Valpo, it's always a tall task, but it's just looking for those guys, man. It's looking to see who's going to step up, do big things for me.
Great crowd turnout.
No, for sure. Again, Valpo is always a huge sports community. They always have great turnout no matter what the event. And Hobart, when football is mentioned, they're there. So
all you got to say football, and half the city of Hobart will show up. So
right. Gotta love it. It was truly a culture shock for me. One of the first games I worked last year, and it was just packed, man. It's a big stadium over there in the Brickyard, but it was packed.
Experience like no other for the city of Hobart with its football.
Good punch out there from Hobart. Looks like Calumet kind of moved the ball and trying to do some little red zone work here.
Is that inside zone that Sally was talking about?
Right. Seen a lot from Calumet. Again, they had one play. Again, pre-moratorium week. It was inside zone. And now it's, they're kind of hopefully trying to expand the playbook a little bit. Again, find those guys, see what they could do. He knows he has some athletes, as always, but it's what the nights like tonight are for. Another jet pass here from Roland. This time Hobart was on it.
He sniffed it out. Issue on the snap there for Valparaiso. Another thing to note, we talked about the great hospitality here at Valparaiso. The music's been on point, too.
Yeah, whoever's up in the press box, kudos to them. They've been playing some they've kept it pretty classic. Some old-timey hits.
It's a hard time to find anything you don't like about Valparaiso High School.
Yeah. They treat us well.
Getting to the outside again for Boone Grove. They keep finding that edge.
Yeah, we got a flag here, though. And we got a false start.
That's why it works so well.
Yeah.
See?
That's never fun. A play works, and you got to walk it back.
So you got to be careful giving a mic to a guy who doesn't have eyes or a brain. You got to wonder why. Wonder why that works so well. Oh, there's a flag on the play.
See, the session's looking like coming to an end here. We saw Going to see a little bit of the Hobart offense now. That's going to be interesting. Again, I think a name to look out for is, I'd say, Willie Shearer. Luke Juris as well kind of holds things down in that offensive line. He was an RSN all-team selection. And what we saw kind of from this Boone team, they play the starters all the way. So it's your ones-on-ones usually. So that's awesome to see. And, of course, you're working some guys in. You want to get them to quality reps come upon the season. But Roland stayed in there most of the time, and it was good to give us a show.
Look at Calumet here on the goal line.
They were going to see that Valpo offense against Calumet defense up next as well. In about one more play's time here. Good work from all sides, all around. Pads popping. Underrated sound in sports.
One of the best sounds in sports, especially when it's one of the first of the year. Get that first day of pads. That's one of my favorite days of my life. So you get those pads for the first time. Boone Grove is doing a great job finding open holes, finding open space so far. That's what I've noticed. Not just when they're doing their little short passes and the long passes. They're playmakers. They find ways to find that open space.
Offense certainly met my kind of expectations I had of them, but it's again interesting to see. Some of those two-way guys going to be shooting up for this Boone Grove defense. Going to be interesting to see, and how they maybe hold up against this always a pretty tough Hobart offense. Looks like starting in the backfield. Looks like it's going to be Pickett. And again, I mentioned Willie Shearer was kind of one of those guys to watch out for. Max Pickett as well had a fantastic sophomore campaign going into his junior year. More of a power back, I'd say.
Take that for a first play.
Yeah, he runs tough, man. He's kind of a thunder and lightning type of duo last year. Those are the two guys, Pickett and Shearer. I think this is Aiden Leonard out here near us as well, a lengthy wide receiver going into his senior season. Just solid number 2 guy for the Brickies last year, I'd say, behind Caldwell. Again, interested to see how kind of Valpo moves the ball tonight. Again, it's a lot of new faces, kind of Marshall mentioned, at some key spots. Although the defense, they're looking for some guys there. It's offense as well is going to be interesting. Again, losing your quarterback. Although they are a smash mouth team, as we see, looks like already a nice run there from Berta. The quarterback's still a valuable position as ever.
Triple option. I think a couple guys miss in the backfield. Like to see that. That's one of my favorite plays in all football. Triple option, a well-executed pitch. Tailback.
Yeah,
voila.
Didn't see that. Don't recall seeing that too much last year.
No, that's
again new system a little bit. You kind of get a new. I don't know. It's interesting. Again, you get a new coach coming in. Although he was an assistant, it's interesting to see. Again, he kind of puts his own little spin on things. Again, it's his regime now. He kind of calls the shots, and again, it's interesting to see.
Thought I remember seeing them run that a bit at Westside when he was at the helm.
It could be true. A little bit more H-back work over here.
They ran the ball a ton at Westside when he was the head coach.
Oh, look at that.
Uh-oh.
So he handed it off to the running back off left. H-back was on the right side of the formation, came back around. The running back handed it off to the H-back, who was going the other way.
A little Kansas City Chief action.
Yeah, a little bit of a counter in a way.
See that on Sundays? Maybe it's either a little jet pass or a handoff. See that Travis Kelsey on almost every Sunday doing something like that. Creative, and it worked. Scored a touchdown on it. I love some creativity.
And
And on the inverse, you have
Great
Valparaiso.
run there from Verta. He's quick, man. As strong as he is, he's quick.
And that isn't a disrespect to Valpo, but I saying the inverse. But you have the more creative plays over here, and then Valpo, they'll just run that inside zone at you, get 5, 6, 7 yards every play.
Yeah,
churn out first downs and get a touchdown.
Sure,
at the end of the drive.
you know what you're getting. It seems like they always kind of breed running backs and linemen, and then they find ways to again get the job done. It's worked ever since Marshall's been at the helm here. 61-14. That's a fantastic record. Whatever you could say about that or not, they're doing things right. They know their personnel, they know what their strengths are, and they're going to get at it.
And they execute better than almost anybody in the area.
Yeah.
The ambient sounds of football, Mike. Whistles.
Yeah, it's good white noise, what they call it.
Sideline chatter. Pads popping. Balls hitting hands or the ground.
It's weird. It moves quick, man. It's, just not too long ago, the white noise was cracks of the bats, pops of the mitts, and everything in between. But now it all moves quick. Whether in this industry or whatever, as cliche as it is, it all moves pretty fast, especially in the sports season.
We appreciate it. Moves quick, but man, it's great.
And plenty more coverage of us coming up, whether that's live streaming or not, at least football related. We got plenty of stuff in the chamber, both released streaming-wise, written-wise. We got plenty of great stuff for you. Again, we thank you for tuning in. Okay, and you'll see a bunch of coverage from tonight, as well as I think we got some stuff coming in from Munster, from that big Orama as well, called the Battle of the Border. Had a few teams from Illinois come in, as well as, I think, Wheeler. Michigan City's over there. I want to say Lafayette Harrison made the trip, and then a couple Illinois schools. So expect some coverage from that as well. Released at a later date, our boy Javi at Short Pro Media, who does fantastic stuff. Give him a follow on all socials.
One of the
Short
best.
Pro Media. I got to give him a shout out because it is well deserved. He's done a lot of stuff here at Valpo as well. He was here last night. Valpo Matt Highland here. We've seen a couple stuff posted on both accounts, ours and his own. We've collabed on. But plenty of more to come.
Busy day. Football. I mean, that Munster Orama, that is teams from all over, both states, and then down south, down to the east with Michigan City. I mean, you're getting every area covered with that. Deep ball, corner of the end zone.
Got it in. That's in. Yep.
Got it in. That is a
Good
touchdown.
throw. Also kind of a clap cadence for Hobart here, too. A little something I haven't really quite seen, if I recall, last year. Again, Shriber, quarterback in high school. I bet he's got a few tricks up his sleeve for this offense come 2024.
Yep. I mean, from what we've seen thus far, very fun to watch, very creative, tricky. I mean, and this is just a scrimmage.
Sure.
What happens when it starts to count on the record?
Again, Hobart opens up with at Chesterton, then they go back home, a home opener against Maryville. That's always a fun one nonetheless. Both of the top teams in the area. Maryville, of course, they're always going to be competitive. They're one of the more, positively competitive teams consistently as well in the area. I think a big week for Hobart. I don't want to look too far ahead. But the NCC, if it comes down to it, week 7, they host Hanover Central, a great game last year that Hanover got the better of them in. But that may have some huge implications as we kind of lead to the October months and eventually playoffs. A little bit over 5 minutes left here in this session. Next up will be Hobart facing off against Calumet, and Valpo will face off against what Dan Kulski called, they call themselves the little brother, Boone Grove. Again, it's so awesome to hear. I should have asked probably Marshall about his relationship with Boone Grove, because obviously this was Boone Grove's home, for a number of years. And it sounds like nothing but respect between both sides. Again, they're basically kind of joint schools in some aspect. They got to work together so much. They got to arrange the schedule to where when Valpo's away, hey, I need this home game. And now obviously that's not a problem anymore. But it's a fun dynamic between those two schools and just those two coaches.
You can see how that relationship's built with just two incredible head coaches.
Sure.
Two great programs. And that definitely helps when you're scheduling a scrimmage like this. They're probably first teams they call in regards to getting a team in for the scrimmage, saying, hey, you used to be in here. We want you back.
Sure.
A couple minutes left here in this session. See, Hobart's been working their play action here the past few. Caught in the backfield that time. You spoke on it a little bit earlier with the sunset. Beautiful backdrop here.
Oh, that's nice. Now we might be able to get rid of this canopy we have over our head. Supplied by Chris Ramirez, who, speaking of Chris Ramirez, football season, again, right around the corner. If you know or are interested in potentially becoming maybe a sponsor and promote your business come football season, you can give Chris Ramirez a call or text at 219-588-1984. Again, that banner will pop up sporadically at the bottom of our broadcast. You'll see that number pop up in the future. But, yeah, we kind of offer, again, banner packages that we present out throughout the stream, as well as commercials as well. So, again, if you're a local business, give old Chris a call, and we'll set you right up. We got, graphic designers on staff. We could design you a banner. We can get you going. Football season's king. A lot of viewership numbers, and it'll promote your brand heavily. So, again, give Chris Ramirez a call at 219-588-1984.
Great way to promote your business and a great product to support local high school sports football season. Helps the student athletes.
A lot of eyes on these games, too. Again, we mentioned the growth of the sport up here. It's viewership we've noticed as well. Football's king up here. A lot of viewership, and we're always so grateful. So grateful for you viewers, wherever you're tuning in, especially tonight, whether that's Facebook, Region Sports, YouTube, whatever, our website, IHSAA TV. Wherever you're tuning in from, we thank you, as always.
Without the viewers, this wouldn't be possible.
There's about under 2 minutes left here in this session. Another deep pass here from Hobart, and a pretty nice eruption here from obviously the Hobart faithful that came out.
Bricky's come out to support, that's for sure. That's a given.
Yeah, nothing's too far of a drive. Again, Hobart looking to hopefully do some damage this year come the postseason. Again, they've got lost to New Prairie for the past 2 seasons, to my knowledge. They're hoping to kind of add some more trophies to that already pretty loaded trophy case.
Shotgun formation this time.
I'm coming down on the waning seconds here. Another pretty good ball. I'm impressed. I have to find out who this quarterback is. I know that was kind of a question mark coming into this year. But we saw a lot of good from the Bricky passing attack against Boone Grove.
You know, keep finding them deep. They keep getting past that Boone Grove secondary. It's happened 3 of the past 5 plays or so. I want to say they were able to find a spot behind the secondary.
And that'll be it here for that session. Again, Hobart will match up against Calumet next, and Valpo will take on Boone Grove.
Break in between sessions here.
Period 9.
9th session starting here in a moment. The lights have kicked on here on the field. Sun barely peeking through the clouds overhead. Beautiful night for some football. Beautiful. Finally cooled down a bit from earlier. Sweat out a couple pounds. Beautiful backdrop.
Flip that up. Beautiful. Back here at Valparaiso High School, I'm Mike Dewan here with the Region Sports Network, and we're here with Hobart football head coach Eric Shriber, Jr. Coach, it's been a minute. How are we doing today?
Really good, man. It's hot, but we're doing good.
It's a little bit cooler than days past. Yeah. I know it's been probably a little toasty summer. Talk to me about your guys. We see your guys right here behind you. Talk to me about how's your summer been so far?
Really good, man. It's been real productive. Our guys have really bought into a lot of the different things that we're doing this summer. We're getting a lot tougher. We're getting more disciplined, and our guys are really coming together, really finding each other, really building that brotherhood that we talk about in the locker room. And so I'm really proud of the way we've progressed so far.
Sure. Last time we kind of saw each other was when you kind of first got the job, March, April. We did our little 100-yard interview at the Brickyard. Talk to me, any big changes since then in terms of, how's it kind of been as you as a coach? Again, you're kind of getting more comfortable. Of course, you were on the staff last year, but it's kind of a different dynamic. Of course, you're taking the head coach role. The players may be seeing you kind of in a different light now since you're the head guy. What's that kind of been like since these past 3 months?
Yeah, it's been great, man. I mean, building relationships with the kids is always something that I've always tried to pride myself on.
Sure.
And I've continued that, as the head football coach now. And, getting into a rhythm of things and how we do stuff in the summer. Those are all different stuff, taking on different things that we, obviously I didn't have to do as an assistant. So,
sure.
It's all been good. It's a work in progress, but
Sure.
a lot of those things, we're just trying to get into a rhythm of things throughout this first year and then sharpen things up, moving forward.
Sure. About the players on the field. Talk to me about maybe any surprises, maybe positional groups or any maybe names you want to throw out there that have impressed you so far, maybe this summer.
Yeah, a lot of guys have really impressed me. Honestly, all the kids have done a really good job. If I named anybody in particular, Nate Sachinsky's really done a phenomenal job. He's a sophomore. Aiden Cash has done a great job as a sophomore. We've thrown. That's Nate right there getting a pick.
There you go. He had great offensive. I saw it. You guys did a good job. So.
Yeah, a lot of our young guys have really come along, and they're really piecing together with our older, more experienced guys as well. Stephen Miller's another kid. He's a basketball player as well,
Sure.
but he's a multi-sport kid that's really come on and shown what he can do on the field. So,
Okay.
I'm sure I'm leaving some guys out, but
Sure.
there's a lot of guys really working hard and progressing.
There's plenty to name. Outside of the team, one of the things you mentioned kind of in the first time we met was kind of tying back to the Bricky lore, the Bricky Vault. I know you guys kind of started on Instagram.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that. Again, kind of, dealing with that for the past few months. I know you guys have been fantastic. And us at Region Sports, we're pretty enamored, of course. We're actually, I don't want to highlight anything we're possibly doing now, but we've done a lot of work and research on how dominant Bricky lore is and how fantastic they were. And just talk to me again a little bit more. You highlighted it when we first met, but talk to me maybe about, again, just kind of going through that scene, bringing the kids back, maybe, a blast of the past.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of what we want to try to do is connect the past with the present.
Sure.
And so, we've done that through the Bricky Vault,
Sure.
being able to show kids and what the rich tradition is and trying to build off of that. And
Sure.
Coach Craig Osika would talk about, like, adding to the legacy. We want to continue to add to the legacy.
Always.
And part of that is understanding, what was and what we can become and build off of what, Coach Howell, all of his teams and all the coaches that were on his teams built.
Gotcha. I've asked this to every coach so far. I want to say summer's broken up into two portions. It's pre-moratorium week and post-moratorium week.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the differences of those maybe you guys have here at Hobart and how you kind of approach it as a head coach.
Yeah, I think, pre-moratorium, it's a lot of, all summer's development, but we're really trying to instill physicality and mental toughness
Sure.
in June. And then in July, we want to carry that on and start to see progress.
Okay.
And I think what we've seen from June to July, we're a much different team now in July, now about to wrap up our summer next week. So really proud of the growth our kids have shown and the toughness they've shown through it all. But, that's kind of how we break it up. We try to develop in June that mentality that we want to build in July come August, and the kids have done a great job.
Gotcha. First off, any future plans coming up, and then what do you want to see maybe, once the summer's over? What do you want to see week one come Chesterton?
Yeah, I think, obviously we next week we got Portage at home,
Yep.
and then we travel out to Warsaw to wrap up our summer. Then we do our senior retreat that we're going to start doing every year on Friday with our seniors. But, we want to see our guys come week one just be that tough group of guys that are disciplined and execute everything and play for each other.
Sure.
That we've been preaching and harping on all off season and all summer. So that's what we want to see on week one.
I do want to let you get back, but I may want to ask you, the senior retreat, can you go more into that? Is that new this year? What's that entail?
Yeah, it's new. It's something that actually I took from Coach Bazia, and there's a number
Gotcha.
of teams that do this. But when I was at HF, we did this at HF, and we take them out for paintball, coaches versus players.
Oh, there you go.
And we get after it in paintball, and then we come together and do a cookout and a bonfire,
Okay.
and kind of play some games with the kids. And it's a great night to really for the kids to see us in a different light,
Sure.
but for us to see them in a different light as well and really connect with those seniors on a deeper level.
You taking it easy on the kids come paintball?
Oh, no.
Or what? Yeah.
Oh, no, yeah, we're getting after it.
It's no holds barred. Well, Coach,
oh, yeah.
I can't thank you enough. Again, I know you obviously got to go see your guys pretty soon,
No.
but again, thank you for giving me the time of day, and again, best of luck this season.
No problem, man. Thank you so much.
That's all we got here from Valparaiso High School. I'm Mike Dewan here with the Region Sports Network, the only game in town.
Can't wait for summer, but dreading the heat because your old AC let you down? Don't sweat it out this summer. Call Economy Electric Heating and Cooling. The professionals there can fix you up. Install a central air unit that'll last for years. Your family deserves to stay comfortable. And with a 24/7 emergency service, comfort is just a phone call away. Give them a call at 219-923-4441 or check them out on the web at 4ajobdoneright.com.
Blythe's Team Sports in Valparaiso is a leader in athletics apparel and equipment sales. With in-house production including screen printing, trophies, embroidery, and more, Blythe's can help you to create the perfect look. For more information, visit them online at teamblythes.com. Blythe's Team Sports in Valparaiso, where the athletes shop.
Welcome back to Valparaiso High School. This is Mike Dewan here with the Region Sports Network. We just talked some shop with Hobart football head coach Coach Shriber Jr. Again, always August, but yeah, again, a lot of big things for these guys, man. A lot to look forward to.
It's been a fun time here today, watching these 4 programs. They've really showed a lot. They showed a lot of promise. As we get an interception here.
Yep, a lot of energy. Again, we've seen so much. We believe our night may be coming to an end pretty soon. I wouldn't say we overstayed our welcome, but we are very thankful for our stay here at Valpo. They treated us so well. And it's been a lot of great football today. Again, you get to see what to expect from these teams. They become the big games come in August, and it's always good to be out here for the kids. They love this stuff. The parents love this stuff, and again, we are always appreciative of any community, especially Valpo, who again welcomed us with open arms. Again, got us set up here on the field as well as, of course, Zach Snelly up there in the bleachers. But it's been a fun night here in Valparaiso.
Any additional coverage of football other than just the games is always a bonus. When we're able to come out and cover these events, these scrimmages, these press conferences, anything that's more than just the games on Fridays, it's awesome.
Always a pleasure. If you want to rewatch this stream, get some film as well. This will be posted, of course, on our social media platforms, which you can follow again on Facebook, YouTube, as well as we'll put it on our website at regionsports.com. And I think we're also, we're going to make out some work for ourselves. I think we're going to also chop up those interviews. I think we probably should. We'll do some post-production on that, and we'll post those as videos. I'll do that myself, I guess, since as Zach Miller shakes his head. No.
Oh, don't put it out like that. I'll be right there.
I know. You'll be right next to me, but again, a fun night here in Valparaiso. As this session's kind of winding down, I believe our stream is kind of winding down as well. But again, it's to sum it all up, it's a fun night here in Valparaiso. Expect many, many more things of football to cover, whether that's, again, a live stream or just post. Again, there's plenty of it, and August just right around the corner. Zach, any final parting thoughts that you have from here tonight?
It was a great evening for football. The weather cleaned up for us a little bit. There was a little thing of rain there for maybe like 5 seconds where I was like, oh boy, we're not going to get a repeat of the past 2 days. But no, it was the complete opposite. There was some great competitive physical football from all 4 teams here today, all 4 of them against each other.
Sure.
Each side that played against each other, each team showed promise on everything. There's a lot of good things to be said about all 4 of these programs. I thought Boone Grove's passing offense and their offense in general they look just as good, if not better, than they did last year in this. I thought Hobart's offense, it looks different than it has in past years.
Yeah.
With Shriber as the head coach. I thought Calumet looks improved from last year.
Definitely.
You know, in Coach Salary's second year. And then Valparaiso looks as good as ever with their offense.
More things to be excited for the fall, but I think that's going to be it from us from Valparaiso High School. Of course, I want to give a couple more shout-outs. Of course, our executive producer, Chris Ramirez, our operations manager, Rich Castillo. Our cameraman up in the bleachers is Zach Zanelli, the do-it-all guy. He was getting us kind of that bird's-eye view. Definitely a better shot than what we have down here on the field level. For the coaches, again, Bill Marshall of Valparaiso, who opened us up with just open arms. Again, always the camaraderie here is fantastic. Eric Shriber Jr., who we just talked to, and always good conversation. Charles Salary and Dan Kulski as well, of both Calumet and Boone Grove. Always good to be chatting with them. And for everybody associated with Valparaiso, including Athletic Director Stacy Adams, and again, Don Clark, who I was in major contact with about tonight, getting us set up and ready to go here tonight. Special shout-out to Don Clark. And you, the viewers, on Facebook/Region Sports Nation, YouTube/Region Sports Network, those at our website, and those watching on IHSAA TV. For your broadcast crew, I got the producer/cameraman/coordinating producer/broadcaster. He did it all tonight.
Oh, boy.
Zach Miller. And myself, the sports director, Mike Dewan. We're signing off here from Valparaiso. This has been a production of the Region Sports Network, the only game in town.